Hello and welcome to Stoic Habit Builder. If you're ready to stop being controlled by stress, fear, or doubt, you've found the right place. Here, we turn Stoic principles into powerful daily habits for a stronger, calmer you. Let's face it, life isn't always filled with kind and honest people. The hard truth is, there are individuals out there who thrive on harm, chaos, and manipulation. And here's the unsettling part. They're not always obvious. Sometimes they wear a mask of charm, a smile that feels genuine, a presence that seems warm. They could be a colleague, a so-called friend, or even someone within your own family. I'm sure you've experienced it before, the moment when something just feels off. Maybe it was the friend who always left you drained, the coworker who secretly sabotaged you, or the relative who pretended to care while pulling you down. At first, you doubt yourself. Maybe I'm overreacting. But deep down, your intuition knows the truth. There's a darker side they don't want you to see. The Stoics, those timeless philosophers of resilience, taught us something powerful. Peace doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling ourselves. They believed in living by reason, by virtue, and with unshakable self-mastery. And part of that mastery is learning to recognize danger when it hides behind a pleasant face. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That means we cannot stop toxic people from existing, but we can stop them from invading our inner peace. We can choose boundaries. We can choose strength. And that's what this video is about, because once you learn to identify the signs of a harmful person, you no longer fall into their traps. You no longer sacrifice your well-being for someone else's chaos. Instead, you protect your energy, your clarity, and your dignity. Today, I want to share with you 5 clear signs of a toxic or harmful person, the kind of signs that, once you see them, you cannot unsee. More importantly, I'll also show you how to set firm boundaries, so you no longer let their poison seep into your life. Remember this. Recognizing the truth about people is not about becoming cold or bitter. It's about becoming wise. The Stoics didn't live in fear of others, but they were not naive either. They faced life with open eyes, guided by reason, not illusions. And when you do the same, you give yourself the greatest gift of all, peace of mind. So stay with me. Let's uncover these signs together. And by the end of this video, you'll walk away not only more aware but more empowered to protect your life, your energy, and your soul. Sign number 1. False charm and the centered ego. Maybe you've met someone like this. At first, they seem magnetic. They're charming, witty, and every word out of their mouth makes you feel special. They could appear in your workplace, in your circle of friends, or even in a relationship, and you think to yourself, wow, this person is amazing. I'm lucky to know them. But then, slowly, the mask begins to slip. You notice how they always need to be the center of attention. They interrupt when others speak. They put people down just to stand taller. And the moment things don't go their way, suddenly the charm vanishes. In its place comes anger, defensiveness, and manipulation that leaves you questioning yourself, even when you've done nothing wrong. The truth is, this type of person is far more common than we'd like to believe. They start by drawing us in with their false charm, but over time, their oversized ego and hunger for control become impossible to ignore. So what can we do? The Stoics left us timeless guidance. They spoke of apatheia, a state of mind undisturbed by false appearances or manipulation. Because when your mind is steady, you can see through the illusion rather than being swept away by it. Marcus Aurelius warned us clearly, beware of those who are quick to anger and eager to manipulate. For if they cannot control themselves, how could they possibly bring peace to others? His words remind us that constant anger isn't a sign of strength. It's a symptom of inner weakness. Epictetus also gave us this wisdom. Before you allow someone into your inner circle, observe their character carefully. Not everyone deserves a place close to your heart, where they can influence your energy and your life. So when you meet someone who begins with charm but reveals a centered ego over time, recognize it for what it is, a warning sign. This is your cue to set boundaries. Stay alert, don't be blinded by appearances, and let reason, not fleeting emotion, guide your choices. The Stoics remind us, we cannot change other people, but we can always control how we respond. And when you choose calm observation over reaction, when you choose awareness over illusion, you not only protect yourself from harm, you preserve the greatest treasure of all, your inner freedom. Sign number 2, lack of empathy. There's another sign, one that often hides in plain sight, the lack of empathy. A person who cannot feel for others, who shows no concern for another's struggles or emotions, will eventually reveal their true colors. Think about it. Have you ever opened up about your hardships, hoping for comfort, only to be met with mockery or dismissal? Have you ever shared good news, something you worked hard for, only to be ignored or, worse, sabotaged? Maybe you've worked under a boss who treated employees like machines, pushing them to exhaustion, caring nothing for their well-being or dignity. All of this points to the same root problem, a complete absence of empathy. The Stoics reminded us that we were not born to live in isolation. We were born to connect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We are made for cooperation, like the hands, like the eyelids, like the rows of upper and lower teeth." Humanity is strongest when we care for one another, when we place the greater good above the selfish ego. Seneca also emphasized kindness and fairness. He warned that when empathy is absent, cruelty takes its place. Deception, violence, and above all, a chilling lack of remorse. I'm sure you've felt it before, that moment when you re-speaking to someone and realize their eyes are hollow. Their heart is disconnected from your pain. It's a piercing feeling, and when you sense it, trust your intuition. People without empathy are dangerous. They won't hesitate to hurt you if it serves their purpose. And worse, they won't feel sorry for it. That's why once you recognize this sign, you must protect yourself. Set boundaries, keep your distance. Stoicism teaches us something essential. Live with reason, but also nurture compassion. True strength doesn't come from crushing others, but from understanding and uplifting them. The person who can empathize is the person who can love. And the person who can love is the one who brings peace, not just to themselves, but to the world around them. Sign number 3, manipulation. One of the most dangerous traits of a toxic person is manipulation. This isn't just bad behavior. It's a deliberate strategy designed to control and dominate you. Manipulators don't attack openly. Instead, they use tricks, deceit, and psychological games to slowly erode your confidence and strip away your sense of control. Have you heard of gaslighting? It's a tactic where they make you doubt your own memory, your emotions, even your perception of reality. You clearly remember what happened, but they insist, that never happened. Over time, you start to wonder, am I remembering wrong? Am I being too sensitive? In that moment of self-doubt, they gain power over you. Another common tactic is playing the victim. They twist situations so you feel guilty, overly responsible for their well-being. The moment you try to set boundaries, they accuse you of being cold or abandoning them. And so, out of guilt, you give in again. Some manipulators rely on conditional praise, showering you with compliments, but only when it benefits them. The second you resist their demands, the sweetness disappears. Others take it even further, isolating you from friends and family, or controlling finances to make you dependent on them. The Stoics saw through this long ago. Epictetus taught us to distinguish between what is within our control, our actions, our responses, our judgment, and what lies beyond our control, the behavior of others, their opinions, or the games they play. Once you understand this boundary, you stop being a pawn in someone else's illusion. A manipulator only succeeds if you hand them control over your emotions. But when you stay clear-headed, you begin to see the game for what it is, and you stand firm. Remember this. You are not responsible for carrying someone else's distorted emotions. You are not the savior of those who use pain as a weapon to control you. Your duty is to protect your inner freedom, your perception of truth, and your peace of mind. Stoicism calls us to resist illusions, to let reason cut through deception. And when you learn to do that, every manipulative tactic loses its power. Sign number 4, controlling behavior. There's a form of toxicity even more dangerous than manipulation. It's controlling behavior. This isn't about simple preferences or harmless advice. It's about force. It's about someone trying to dominate every part of your life. A controller doesn't just want influence. They want ownership over your choices, your freedom, even your identity. They might decide for you in everything. What you wear, what you eat, where you work, even who you spend time with. Your phone, your messages, your passwords, things that should remain private, suddenly become their territory. Bit by bit, you lose your personal space, you lose your freedom. Some go further, controlling finances to trap you in dependence. Without financial freedom, you find yourself locked in an invisible cage. Others cut you off from friends and family, isolating you so you have no support system. And when all else fails, they use threats and intimidation, planting fear inside you until you submit. But Stoic philosophy teaches the exact opposite. The Stoics cherished inner freedom and self-mastery. Seneca urged us to have the courage to face threats, to never bow to force or intimidation. And Epictetus reminded us, no one can take away your inner freedom unless you give it to them. So ask yourself, am I living my own life, or the life someone else has forced upon me? Because the moment you stop questioning, you risk losing yourself without even realizing it. Here's the truth. You can lose money, relationships, even things you once thought were essential. But if you hold on to your inner freedom, your power to choose, to think, to act, then no one can truly control you. Freedom doesn't always come from outside. It begins within. And the Stoics believe this deeply. A free spirit will never bow to the chains of another's control. Sign number 5, pathological lying. There are small lies in daily life, sometimes harmless, sometimes even polite, told to avoid hurting someone's feelings. But there is a far more dangerous form of deception, pathological lying. This isn't an occasional slip. It's a habit, a lifestyle, almost a second skin. A pathological liar doesn't need a reason to lie. They weave stories out of thin air, exaggerate their achievements to gain admiration. At work, they might fabricate degrees, invent accomplishments, or spread rumors that damage others. In relationships, they distort their past, hide their true feelings, and make you question your own memory and emotions. The danger is this. When lies are repeated over and over, they can erode even the strongest foundations of trust. And once trust is broken, any relationship, whether friendship, love, or partnership, turns toxic. You find yourself in an environment where truth is twisted, trust is shattered, and inner peace slowly fades away. The Stoics warned us about this. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nothing is more fitting for a human being than truth." For him, to live in harmony with nature meant to live truthfully. Seneca reminded us that peace of mind only comes when we are no longer disturbed by deceit. The reality is you cannot control whether others lie, but you can control your response. Watch closely how someone reacts when their lie is exposed. An honest person may admit their mistake or clarify the misunderstanding, but a pathological liar will deny, deflect, or pile on another lie to cover the first. This is why vigilance is essential. Trust is the foundation of every relationship. If someone consistently breaks that foundation, then you must have the courage to draw a boundary, to protect your mind, your heart, and your peace. Because a life of freedom and happiness cannot be built on layers of deception. It can only stand strong on truth, trust, and honesty, the very values the Stoics upheld for centuries. Sign number 6, the Stoic solution. Setting boundaries. Throughout the previous parts, we've seen the many faces of toxicity: false charm, lack of empathy, manipulation, controlling behavior, and pathological lying. The question is, how do we protect ourselves against all of this? The answer comes down to 2 powerful words: set boundaries. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect. It protects your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. It's your way of saying to the world, I value myself, and I expect you to value me too. The first principle of boundaries is clarity. Be direct. Speak out about what you will not tolerate. If someone constantly puts you down, Say clearly that it hurts and you will not accept it. If someone invades your privacy, affirm your need for personal space. Boundaries only work when you have the courage to voice them. The second principle is consistency. A boundary cannot stand if you constantly bend or overlook repeated violations. Consistency doesn't mean rigidity, but it does require determination. As Epictetus reminded us, discipline is the root of freedom, but expect resistance. When you set boundaries, some people will push back. They may try to make you feel guilty, accuse you of being too harsh, or pressure you into changing your stance. In those moments, remember Marcus Aurelius. Do not let your mind be ruled by the negativity of others. Stay calm. Stay firm. Do not let anyone dictate your choices. Sometimes protecting yourself requires the hardest step of all, cutting ties with a toxic relationship. This is never easy, especially if it's a long-time friend or even a family member. But consider Seneca's wisdom. Choose your companions wisely, for they shape your character. If a relationship consistently drains you and robs you of peace, walking away is not failure, it is freedom. And don't forget, you don't have to walk this path alone. Seek support from friends, family, or a community that reminds you of your true worth. Most importantly, practice self-care. When you nurture balance and honor your own values, you gain the strength to uphold the boundaries you set. Remember this: boundaries are not walls to shut the world out. They are fences that protect your freedom, your safety, and your authenticity. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago, and today you too can live with the same strength by drawing clear, healthy boundaries for your own life. At the end of the day, boundaries are not walls that shut people out. They are doors that you control, the doors that determine who and what is allowed into your mind, your heart, and your life. The Stoics remind us freedom begins within. Epictetus taught discipline. Marcus Aurelius practiced calm in the storm, and Seneca reminded us to choose our companions wisely. So I ask you, what boundaries do you need to set today? Where in your life have you allowed others to take more than they should? It's time to reclaim your space, your energy, and your peace. Stand firm. Speak with clarity. Protect what is sacred. Because when you honor your boundaries, you honor yourself, and there is no greater act of strength than that. If this message spoke to you, don't just keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom that can change your life.